Hello Stampers, I'm Dina Lanzendorf at Inkin' with Dink and welcome to my video. All this week on my videos and also my Facebook Live, I am featuring the retiring stamp set Beautiful You. This is such a gorgeous stamp set and it makes the prettiest cards. So I just wanted to spend the week really focusing on this just so that you could see it one last time, decide if it's something that you need in your collection before it is gone for good. So on Tuesday, we made these cards. So I was just showing you how to use the stamps to color in her clothing and also featured the Woven Threads designer series paper that we have that is also retiring. So today I am going to do a wow card. I know I do that a lot on Wednesdays for my Facebook Live, but yesterday's Facebook Live focused on my April paper pumpkin alternatives. So I saved my wow card for today. So this is the card I'm going to be showing you how to make today. Very pretty, a different stamp in that set, but look at how this opens. So this little flap here goes up, this big flap goes down, and then the card opens like that. Is that not the prettiest card ever? So I thought that is quite the wow, and that'll be really fun in my video today to show you how to make it. So are you ready to get started? Let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and move my card over there to the side, and I am going to pull out my trimmer. Okay, we are going to start off making this card with a full sheet of cardstock. Okay, so it is a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it and score it with the long side across the top. We're going to score it at 5.5. That is exactly the mark you would cut on to make a card, but we are just scoring it. Okay, then you're going to turn it 90 degrees. And you're going to cut it at 2 1/8. Okay, now you're only going to cut it from the top down to the score line, and then from the score line down you're going to score it. Okay, so cut it from the top down to the score line, score it from the score line down to the bottom. Then we're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the same thing, 2 1/8 inch. You're going to cut up here, you're going to cut it down to the score line, and then we're going to score it from the score line to the bottom. So you are going to end up with a card that looks like this, or a piece of cardstock that looks like this. Okay? You're going to take your scissors, you're going to go ahead and cut across on the score line to cut that piece off, and then on the other side you're going to do the same thing, cut across to your score line. Okay, so those are now trash and it looks like this. Okay, so let's flip it upside down because this little tail is the bottom, so we can fold it up. Go ahead and use your bone folder. Okay, we're also going to fold our sides in. Okay, now this is important because you got to test it out a little bit to make sure your cuts are totally straight and that this will fold up without any problems. So if you seem to run into a little bit of problem, you can trim a little bit if you need to, or just use your bone folder to make it nice and a good flat fold. Okay, so fold everything down. If you need to trim these just a little bit, you certainly can to make it fold better. But this is what we're going to end up with, is this right here. Okay, now we can start decorating. So we're going to start on the inside and go out. So we want a piece of Whisper white cardstock that is going to go right inside like that. Okay, let me open up this card and you can see I stamped a greeting on it and I put a little strip of designer series paper. So let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. Okay, I'm going to use the stamp in the set that says, "Life may not be the party we had hoped for, but we're here but while here, we might as well dance. So it's just kind of a good card, I thought, for this particular time in our lives and what is going on. Okay, so just make the best out of it, of what we have going on. Okay, now I want to put my designer series paper on there. So don't adhere this down, but let's go ahead and figure out our designer series paper size for these flaps. Okay, I am using the designer series paper from the, pull this out for you, the Magnolia Lane pack. And it has absolutely beautiful papers in it. Fronts and backs are just so pretty. So I'm using a couple of pieces of designer series paper in that pack. So here's one of them I'm using. This is going to be for my little side panels. And I want to bring my trimmer back out because I need to cut these down to 5 1/4 long. Okay, so determine what you want as the top of your paper. So I want my stripes to go up and down. So 5 1/4 by 1 7/8. And we're going to need 2 of these. 1 7/8. Okay. Now, some of this paper that I have left over, I'm just going to cut a little strip. Let's do about 3/4 of an inch. And that I'm going to put on the inside. Okay, so take my trimmer back away. Now I'm ready for this to adhere this inside. So, you know what? Let's use our snail. I don't use snail a lot. Ooh, I like that piece inside. Let's do that. But I'm trying to use some of it a little bit more. You know, Stampin' Up! Is retiring our snail adhesive. They are coming out with something new called Seal. And it is supposed to be stronger adhesive than what our snail is, which I am glad about. But that's what we're going to have soon. So let's go ahead, now that I have my designer series paper strip on there, let's put our adhesive on the back, and let's put this piece, center it right in the middle of our card, just like that. Okay, now I'm on my strips, so I have cut these 2 pieces to go on there. So let's go ahead, put our adhesive down, center these on here. As our little side flaps. Okay, so there we have that much. So now we're ready for this piece here. So I am using just another piece of our designer series paper, and I want to cut it down to be 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, and that is going to be the perfect size to layer on this piece. Okay, so I have my adhesive on there. Going to center that on there just like that. Okay, now I did use on this card some ribbon. So I am using the ribbon that is in that suite that is so beautiful. It is the petal pink, and it's got a metallic edge to it. Unfortunately, this is retiring, which I'm going to be sad to see it go because it is beautiful ribbon. But it does coordinate perfectly with this particular designer series paper. So let's go ahead and I like to, when I am doing a bow, an actual bow on a card, I like to tie my knot first so that I know it's going to stay nice and tight. And then I will tie my bow. So there is my bow, and let's trim off one side just like that. Okay, now we are ready for our little flap here. Okay, so what I did is I used the Stitched Nested Labels dies, okay, which are all the sizes like this. And I just picked out a couple that I thought were good sizes for my stamp. Okay, so I cut a smaller one in white and I cut a bigger one in the petal pink cardstock, which is the same as my card. So I want to pull my trimmer out again. And I want to line this up so that the points on the tag are exactly in my area there. And I'm just going to score it so that this will fold down and be nice just like that. Okay. Then I'm going to take my white one, line it up again where the points are right in my cut line. And this time I'm actually going to trim off that. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is going to adhere on this one. And I don't want it folded over or anything. So I'm just going to adhere it just like that. Okay. So this little flap is how we're going to adhere it to the card. So you're going to put a little adhesive on there like that. And it is going to just slide under here. So that it is even with the top of our card. Okay, so kind of use this as a guide, close those, make sure that folds down nicely like that. And then you know you've got it in the right place. So it is sandwiched between the white piece and the back of the card. Okay. Now we're ready to do our focal point, which is our little lady. So I am using this one in the stamp set. So I'm just going to ink it all up real good. Stamp her down. And we're going to color her. So I just pulled out a couple of markers that are in the same designer series paper. So this one is light mossy meadow, and I'm going to use it to color her hat and her dress. She is a fairly small little lady here, so it does not take hardly any time at all to color her. And of course, using the blends, it all blends beautifully together so that there's no color lines. Now I am using the light petal pink because I think it is the closest color to a Caucasian skin tone. Just like that. And then let's use, what did we use for the foot? We didn't do anything. Okay, so now we need to fussy cut it out. Okay. So, since there are no dies to coordinate with this, you can fussy cut it. You can, even if you don't want to fussy cut, make sure that your little banner piece that I'm going to put her on is wide enough for her to fit, and then you can just stamp directly on your piece of Whisper White, and you don't have to fussy cut. I know not everyone loves to fussy cut as much as I do. So I like to give you alternatives so that you don't necessarily have to do it. Now I think I had talked, in fact I know I talked in my retiring video before. If you happen to look at a retiring list, you will see that all of our blends pens are on the retiring list. They are not retiring. Okay, what is retiring is the ability to buy single pens. Okay, so every color that we have, there is a light and a dark. So let's say Mossy Meadow. Okay, and there is going to be a light Mossy Meadow and there is a dark Mossy Meadow. So in this old catalog, you could buy a light pen or a dark pen or a combo pack. So starting in the new catalog, they are only going to be available in combo packs. You can no longer buy individual marker colors. All right, so she is done and ready to go. So I'm just going to close up my card here like this. To take her, I'm going to use my Tombow glue and add some color. I don't want to go clear out on her limbs because she hangs over a little bit on this. Okay, so you don't want to go clear out on everything. You can put a little bit if you see an area that needs to be tacked down. Just like that. So there you go. There is our fun fold card. I'm not even sure what you call this, but it is a fun card in the way it folds. So I hope you have enjoyed learning how to make a card like this. They turn out very beautiful. And I think, like I said, the stamp set that I'm using this week, the Beautiful You stamp set, is an absolutely beautiful stamp set that no matter what kind of a card you make with it, it's going to be so pretty. So would you like to see some other examples of cards that I have using this stamp set? I have accumulated quite a few of them over the years. This is a card that I did in a class, and we just used the watercolor wash as a background. Here's one that I received in a swap. Here's one. This one has a layer of vellum on the back of it. It's very pretty. Here's kind of a fun one that's a pull-out. Okay, and she used the daisy punch and vellum to do a little skirt. Here's a pretty card that I did in a class. This one uses, it looks like watercolor pencils. Lots of ways to color these things. Here's one I did in a class. And this is a beautiful background. I think it is actually designer series paper, but isn't that pretty on there? Here's one, and she used the squiggly to color the umbrella instead of the dress. Here's a beautiful card that was made. It's on shiny paper or glossy cardstock. Here's one. They like to mix it up and add other stamp sets, so it looks like she's kind of standing out in the ocean. Here's one I did that I taught in a class of how to do the smushy look. Here's just a beautiful where she embossed it in silver on black cardstock. There's a pretty one. Of course, it's purple. Gotta love purple. Here is one that used the stamp for the dress. Just lots and lots of pretty cards. Love the colors on this one. This one's kind of a fallish card because she used the leaf paper and the leaf embossing folder back there. So I really like this one. Like the way she used that to color the dress, and it coordinates with the paper. Here's one that I did at a class one time. Just used a couple strips of designer series paper to add some color. It's a pretty one with some of that beautiful paper behind it. Here's a splash I did one time to make it look like raindrops. Got a couple of those in a class I did. Here's one I did for a swap card. I love that stamp. I love this one too. Live with passion, laugh out loud, and love deeply. That's in that set. Oh, there's that one again. And then here's one I did where I actually did paper piecing for her hat and dress. All you have to do is stamp the stamp on designer series paper and then fussy cut it out and then stick that on, and it makes it so that it coordinates with everything. Very pretty. So there you go. So I hope you have enjoyed me showcasing the Beautiful You stamp set this week. If you are interested in purchasing it before it's gone, be sure and use my May host code of the month. You need to go to my website here at dinalstamps.stampinup.net, click on the shop, and then be sure and use my host code. All of the retiring Stampin' Up! Stamp sets that are retiring at the end of this month are guaranteed available through May 22nd. So be sure, if you are interested in getting this set, that you place your order by then. Thanks so much for watching me today, and I hope I have inspired you to get creative. Please share my video with your friends, and thanks for watching.